What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. For those who don't know me, my name is Will. I'm a real estate agent out here in Los Angeles, California. And on my channel, I talk about real estate, business, entrepreneurship, and I help newer agents on their journey in the real estate industry. If you aren't already, please make sure to subscribe to my channel. It really does help me out. But without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and get right into the video. Today, we are going to be talking about the home buying process from start to finish. So I am going to pull out my Surface Pro and write everything down for you guys. I think all of my home buyers out there are going to find this video very valuable, especially my first time home buyers. So let's not waste any time and get right into it. Alrighty guys, so let's go ahead and go over the home buying process step by step, starting off with the first step and probably the most important step, which is going to be knowing your goals. Before you even think about hiring a real estate agent and getting pre-approved and going and shopping for homes, you need to understand what your home goals are and what you're looking for. And if you are going to be shopping with a partner, make sure you two are in agreement or at least have some common ground. I understand that, you two might have some differences, but please try to find some common ground. So no arguments. Get all the arguments done right from the jump, right? Don't bring that during the home buying process. It's just going to make it so much more stressful for you, and it's extremely unnecessary to bring that stress to the table. And now the beautiful thing about shopping for a home is you may not even know all of your goals when it comes to buying a home right off the jump. It actually may take a few homes to look at, and you're going to start seeing things. You're like, you know what? I kind of like this, or I kind of like that. And you're going to learn more about yourself, and you're going to like more things, which is great. But at least before you get into the home buying journey, just make sure to at least list everything that is a need for you and that you really do want. And then from there, you can go ahead and move on. So let's go ahead and move on to step number 2, which is going to be hire a realtor. Now, hiring a realtor is obviously your foundation to going and getting a house. Hiring somebody who is genuine, honest, and actually wants the best for you and isn't just somebody who just wants to close another deal or whatever, but is somebody who actually cares about your journey and what you're going to be going through, because this is probably the biggest investment you're going to make in your life. So you want to make sure you have somebody who is actually going to take care of you, fight for you, negotiate on your behalf, and do the best that they can to put you in the best possible position, because that is what a real estate agent is supposed to be doing for you. So let's go ahead and move on to step number 3. Step number 3 is meet with a lender. So you want to meet with a loan officer because you need to get pre-approved to get a house. And if you are not pre-approved, then you can't even start looking for homes. And I know many of you may be like, well, why can't I just go look for houses? Why can't I go see what's out there before I get pre-approved? Here's the issue. If you're going and looking at houses and the house that you absolutely love is $900,000 and you end up getting approved for $850,000 and you're not able to afford that home, you're going to be really upset, and you are going to start off the home buying process already upset, and you're going to, every house you look at is not going to be the same as the one that you saw before, and it's just going to put you in a bad position. So make sure you really know what your budget is. Once you know what your budget is, then from there you can actually start shopping for homes. Not to mention, there are a few homes on the market now, especially in the market that we're in, where the agents will actually require you to have a pre-approval to even go see the place. So this is why it's so important to have your pre-approval to begin with. Let's go ahead and move on to the next step, which is going to be going over your budget with your realtor and shop for homes. So this is probably one of the most exciting parts of the home buying process. Well, other than getting your offer accepted. But this is one of the more exciting parts of the home buying process, actually going and shopping for homes. After you let your realtor know what your budget is, your realtor will then be able to actually check the MLS for what your criteria is, what your budget is, and you guys can start looking for homes and seeing which ones you like. Pretty simple, guys. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one, which is going to be write an offer. So once you have located that perfect home, when you've located the one, you're going to go ahead and tell your agent to write an offer on the property. You guys are going to discuss everything during this time with your realtor, from the purchase price of the home to escrow days, inspection time, appraisal time, all that good stuff. That's when your agent is going to be in contact with your lender to see exactly what the timestamp is, when appraisal should be coming in, loan contingency. And now let's say best case scenario, you got your offer accepted on the first home that you put an offer on. I know many of my buyers are looking at me right now like, you know what, I wish that was the case. Because of today's market, it is really crazy. You're really gonna have to fight for a home. But for argument's sake, let's go ahead and say that you got your offer accepted on the first time. Congratulations, that's super awesome. Now you're going to be opening escrow, and you are going to open escrow and get disclosures. So once you open escrow, basically your agent or the listing agent will be calling the escrow company to open escrow. During this time, you're going to be getting your disclosures from the sellers, and basically disclosures are in the name. They're basically disclosing to you everything they know possible about the house, any problems there may be with it, literally anything. They're going to go ahead and disclose that to you, and they're going to send that to you to get signed. And now the next one, which is really important, is wire your earnest money deposit, your EMD. So within 3 days of opening escrow, you have to wire your earnest money deposit. And I mean, that's what it is in California. I'm really not sure if any other states are like maybe 5 days or something, or a little bit longer, but where I'm at, it is 3 days to put in your earnest money deposit. So you want to make sure you're timely with this, because if you're really lagging this, that is a horrible look for the seller, and you guys are just getting started. You're just getting started escrow, and there's already some issues going on. So this is probably about, like I mentioned, about 3 days into escrow. So you're still very early on in the process. Let's go ahead and move on to the next step, which is going to be inspections. So during your inspection period, this is something that I want to briefly talk about. Before you actually get into your inspection period, you want to make sure you talk to your agent about what inspections you want to get done on the house. This is extremely important to let your agent know about, especially in this market. You can't just let them know immediately right when you open escrow, oh, you know what, let's just do this. I always advise my clients to let me know what inspections they want done before we go ahead and put an offer on the house, because I need to make these calls and book all these appointments. And especially in today's market, all these inspectors are extremely busy right now. So if you have a 7 to 10 day inspection period, we want to make sure we have time to book the appointment, have the inspector show up, and have the inspectors write us up a report. If they write us up a report and we get that report on day 7, we don't have much time to negotiate to get a credit or to get a repair done on the property. So make sure you are prepared. And I'm not saying to do this when you first meet with your realtor to let them know, but you do want to make sure you're letting them know when you locate the property. Because I know sometimes you'll see a house, you're like, you know what, I want to get a termite inspection done. You just always want to make sure you have a decent amount of time. And I even recommend doing a little bit longer of an inspection contingency. I wouldn't go any time shorter than 7 days, only because, like I mentioned, it is an extremely busy market that we're in, and we're trying to get everything done so fast. And if you have a little bit of time, it's just not going to work out, because you may bring your general inspector, right? You have a 7-day inspection contingency. Your general inspector comes in on day 3 of that contingency period. He tells you there might be mold. Now we have to call up a mold inspector. This is why I think we should have a little bit more time, so that we can actually have our time to negotiate, look at things, make sure you're inspecting the property, because during your inspection period is when you're going to find things that may or may not break the deal. So it's a very important time. Let's go ahead and move on to the next step, which is going to be negotiations. So as I mentioned in the previous step, right, during your inspection period, after everything is done, you're going to hit another negotiation period where you might find some things and you're going to be negotiating with the sellers to either get a credit on the home at the close of escrow, or you're going to be just having them repair it for you. Now let's go ahead and move on to our next step, which is going to be the appraisal. So the appraisal, probably one of the scariest times during escrow, right? You want to make sure that the house appraises for the price that you offered it on, for the purchase price of the home. You want to make sure that you are getting an appraisal that is either at that price or over. If you end up going under that price, you have 3 options on that. And those 3 options are going to be negotiating with the seller. So basically telling them, hey, why don't we meet halfway on this, right? I'll come up with the let's say the home is appraised. Let's say the purchase price of the home is $650,000. It ends up appraising at $630,000, right? You can negotiate with seller, maybe be like, hey, we'll come up with $10,000, and if you can come up with the other $10K, or you can tell them to lower the list price down to, or lower the purchase price down to that $630,000. That's one of your options. Your other option is just straight up backing out. Now, mind you, backing out if you have an appraisal contingency. In this market, many people are removing their appraisal contingency. So if you did remove your appraisal contingency, unfortunately, you're going to have to come up with the difference, and you're going to have to cover that balance in order to fund your loan and get your loan from the bank. And your third option is pretty simple. You cover the difference. So straight up and simple, those are going to be your 3 options when it comes to the appraisal period. So please make sure you are ready when this time comes. Now, mind you, during the appraisal time, this is going to be about 17 to about like 21 days into escrow. That's basically about where you're going to be at during this escrow period. Now, moving on to the next step, which is going to be loan approval. So plain and simple, this is the time when you are going to be getting loan approval from your lender, and you basically will be ready to remove your loan contingency. And at this point in time, you are about 21 to 25 days into escrow, depending on your loan contingency. And now moving on to our next step, which is going to be final walkthrough. Now, your final walkthrough of the property is not a contingency, right? It is basically just your final verification of the property to make sure that the seller left the property exactly the way you guys saw it. There's no broken windows. There's nothing major that you didn't see before that is there now. But again, it is not a contingency. You're not just able to back out during this period. Now, moving on to our next step, which is going to be our final signatures. So within this time, you are basically around like day 27 to day 30 of escrow, right? And during this time, you're going to be signing your final documents, your final loan documents, closing disclosures, and anything else that needs to be signed before the close of escrow and before you actually record. That's all going to be done during this time. Now, moving on to our next step. Now that we have finally taken out all of our contingencies, we have signed every single document, disclosure, everything that has been needed, you are going to get the keys. The most exciting point in this entire journey. After everything you have gone through, you are finally ready to get the keys for the house. Now, there is one more step after you get the keys. Yeah, there is one more step. Celebrate. So this is the time where you get to sit back, relax, and just celebrate and take in the moment that you are officially a homeowner and the process is completely over. You have gone through everything, and it is finally your time to pop the champagne and get excited and enjoy your new home. All right, guys, so that was a breakdown of what to expect from the start to the finish, step by step, the entire home buying process. Okay, just a few things before I conclude this video. I just want to say that, first of all, escrow could take anywhere from 30 to 45 days, and that is completely dependent basically on your lender. Your agent is going to be calling your lender on the phone and figuring out how long they need. Sometimes it may even be up to the sellers. Sometimes some sellers may need about like 60 days for escrow, or 45 days, or anything specific, but generally it's 30 to 45 days. And again, that's very dependent on how swift everybody is during the home buying process. I know I gave you a breakdown of basically how the home buying process will go, but you guys will be signing a lot of papers during this time. I obviously cannot go through every single paper. The video would probably be like 4 hours long. I don't mean to say that to stress anyone out, okay guys? You're buying a house, so you're gonna have to sign a lot of stuff, okay? But you are gonna be signing a lot of stuff throughout, from the moment you open escrow all the way to the end. You're probably going to be signing stuff like every day. So make sure you are on top of all of that. Don't lag on signing anything. I've had many times where my clients lagged on some stuff and we're not on time with our scheduling, and that's not good. You have a contract you have to follow, so make sure you're doing everything very quickly and just get it over with. Get the home buying process over with. We don't want you stressing about it anymore, so just make sure you're doing everything that you need to be doing. But other than that, I hope you greatly enjoyed today's video, and I hope you found it very valuable on what to expect on the home buying process. If you did enjoy it, please make sure to subscribe to my channel. Make sure to leave a like on the video. Make sure to leave a comment down below. Make sure to follow me on my social medias. I do have an Instagram and a Facebook, and I will leave both of those down in the description box below. Make sure to subscribe to my weekly newsletter as well. I keep everybody informed and up to date on the housing market weekly. I post those emails every single Tuesday, so make sure to check that out. But other than that, guys, I hope you all have an amazing day, and I will see you all on the next one.